Hi, welcome to this week's edition of the Blue Sucker. Again, John, Dave and myself are going to look back over Leinster's victory against Bath the weekend, all the other quarter-finals of the European Cup, and look forward to our game at the weekend in Pro 12. So boys, it's our 8th Heineken or European Cup semi-final, and I think it's our 6th in the past 10 seasons.
Jeez, we're nearly doing as well as Munster, aren't we? We'll start again.
Yeah, but this time the final isn't spelled F-Y-N-A-L-E with umlauts and stuff on it. Now we're the modern world. We're getting into the league. You know? It's a good achievement. Our conversion rate is pretty good, actually, and that's the important thing.
Yeah.
And this one that will only matter if we convert it into another match.
Well, you know, it was a funny game. It was a funny old game. It was.
Were the two halves, Brian?
I thought we had them in the first half. Like I think we were 10 points ahead at half time, and I thought, you know, we're comfortable. This is looking fine. And especially just at the end of the half when McFadden put in that serious hit.
Oh, he lifted the whole stadium with that.
Yeah, you could hear the crowd going spare after it. And then there was a couple of other little hits before the ball. That was McFadden who was up again to rip it going into half time. But like, it just kind of fell apart a little bit, and we played the conservative game a little bit too long and nearly didn't get away with it.
I think people have been overly harsh to criticise Leinster not creating tries. We created 2 beautiful tries for Bath. I mean,
that was George Ford both times.
George Ford is he's a fantastic guy with the ball in hand. Maybe it's still a bit chunky with goal kicking, but as I said last week, it's a bit like
he's 6.
Almost, yeah, like I said last week, almost every grade out half had their off days when they were that age. But like ball in hand, he's electric.
Yeah, but he missed 5 points in the first half, and like I think we were
10.
Yeah, but we were 9-6 up. Sorry, 9-5 up. And if you had got those kicks, you know, psychologically them being ahead when they deserved to be, whereas we were kind of just clinging on, I thought, for the first opening 15 minutes.
Yeah,
well, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I mean, they got the try that we gifted them. I mean,
they exploited. That they knew precisely what way we were lining up in our defence. That we had props and second rows in the centre.
The brilliance was Ford finding that gap, but he doesn't get there if the kick chase is right. He doesn't get there if the kick is accurate. You know, I mean, Ford did brilliantly from what we handed him, and it's the same in the second. I mean, that kick for Rob Kearney, that was a very poor kick. The one that went out in the full, it brought us right back, because that was a really good kind of counter-attacking opportunity, and even a good counter-kicking opportunity that we just didn't take. And then, you know, 3-4 phases later, they had
huge kick as well, and it was about 6 inches outside.
But then 3-4 phases later, Ford has the opportunity to be brilliant again, and he took those opportunities. In fairness, you can't take it away from him. But you know, if we're on our game, he doesn't get either opportunity. It's as simple as that.
The first one was lovely, where he ran one of those kind of parabolic curves around Rob Kearney, just like Drico used to do, where he hit up between the 2 forwards, and he already knew exactly where he was going, and he knew that he was going to be able to just go around.
He just skipped him on the outside, almost like as if he was playing tip.
Yeah, Kearney just had, he was left looking foolish, and it wasn't that he was foolish, it was your man just ran that beautiful curved line that, you know, that only Brian O'Driscoll used to be able to find until he came left.
You see, we're coming into rarefied atmosphere at this stage of the competition. We kicked badly. We definitely kicked badly. That you could say that there's no question about it on 4 occasions, right? And we got punished. And we got punished on 2 of them. Well, we got punished on 3 of them, because the first kick, I think the first bad kick was Goppert's kick that led to Madigan's kick, right? So there's 2 in that move. We got punished on that. I think Kearney's kick, we got punished on that, and then we got away with the kick from the base of the scrum. So there might have been other bad kicks in the game. I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is there was 4 definitive bad kicks, and we got punished on 3 of them.
But you remember, like the Ireland match, every time the ball came down, it was landing in a sea of green and white players. This time it was landing only in the Bath players. It was not Leinster guys.
They were actually having to go and fetch it themselves, but there was no competition.
Yeah, there was none. And you know, and then of course when for that particular case, like Madigan his kick was so overcooked that he had to just sprint up, and because he was sprinting, he couldn't check, and it was just beaten on the outside, for pace.
But he compounded the error as well by jumping out of the line to come into the ruck as well, which left a hole there. But that's all. Once you make that mistake, all the skittles start falling.
Yeah.
It's like the American domino theory of communism. Once one falls, they all fall.
Yeah.
But also, if you look at the amount of knock-ons and bad handling and forward passes in the back line, I mean, they really shot themselves in the foot. And when you look at that fact and the fact that they were missing 3 props, it makes us look a little bit,
The other side of that argument is that the teams that are better at rugby, better at goal kicking is a faction rugby, scrummaging, having a strong enough squad is a faction rugby, that the team that was better at rugby won.
Yeah. But I think it was our experience, Dave.
Oh, absolutely.
We since the 2011 season, we've played 19 knockout games post-season. There's 5 a season.
And one of them against Bath, and that's the only one that they play, probably.
And we've played we've only lost 3 out of 19, which is some record since 2011.
It is.
But like that, it's that level of experience of winning all those crunch matches that you lose in your right.
Oh yeah. I was a bit puzzled by we lost 3, and I was thinking only in Europe, but of course in the Pro 12 as well. Right. Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, there's experience, but there's also depth. I mean, we were talking about Bath's third choice props. We wouldn't have been as worried as Bath obviously were if we'd gone out with Benton Furlong, for example. They're not a patch on Benton's not a patch on Keane Healy. I'm not saying that. What he is as a third choice. Is there a better third choice loose head anywhere?
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah. Is there a better fourth choice tight head anywhere than him? And Furlong is, it's a question. He's third choice only nominally?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a strength that the really top clubs at the business end of the European thing have. I mean, we'll see it now. We'll see it from Claremont. You see, Toulon have already announced that they're dropping half their team for their game against Grenoble. They're not even risking them. They're benching them.
I was looking through I was comparing our match less than 3.5 years ago against Bath when we beat them by 50 odd points. I think there was 7 starters on our team that played in that match back 3.5 years ago, and there was 7 on the bench. So of the 23, there was 14 guys. Of the Bath team, there was 3 starters and 1 reserve.
And 1 playing for Claremont.
And 1 reserve. But it just goes to show that. But in saying that, like the quality that they brought in those years has been far superior. Like they've got George Ford was playing for them. They've got quite a few of the England backs for playing.
Francois Lowe.
What do you think playing both?
The reality is that Craig has a budget or the ability to spend the equivalent of the entire IRFU's annual budget on his one club. So if they don't have the players, it's their own fault.
Yeah.
But having said
don't
that,
forget though, we have a ready-made academy that just pumps out, hundreds of kids every year that come through, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. You still got this enormous production line coming through.
But having said that about
Millions,
Bath,
Jason.
this is a Bath team that's almost at year 1, of a 5-year kind of program. And you look at it, you look at the youth in the team, you look at the experience in the team in the right place. They're a team that's going to be bothering the business end of Europe for 4 or 5 years to come.
Well, I'm reminded
if they hold it together.
I'm reminded of a quarter-final victory about how long ago? 6 years ago, and we scraped through the match, and we then faced a team who destroyed their opposition and looked absolutely unbeatable. There was hardly I couldn't back them. There was hardly a person in the country that thought we had a chance of beating them. Thankfully, there was at least 22 lads in. A
prominent bookmaking firm had decided to pay out on Munster winning the Heineken Cup that year before the semi-final, and I can't understand why he went bankrupt.
Well, there's a certain parallel there. I'm not saying we're going to beat Toulon or anything, but it's just we've staggered over our quarter-final. They did a little bit of staggering in fairness, but they still won comfortably in their quarter-final. Arguably against a better team. Although George,
I think it's a different world now.
It is
Munster came by their team, for want of a better phrase, honestly. I don't mean that. I mean they came by it the old-fashioned way, where there's a core of Munster guys developed up, blah blah, few choice signings. Compare that to Toulon. The French Premiership is the English Premier League. That's what it is.
Trumps.
It's the same as the English Premier League. Is how many Manchester guys play for Man City? How many? You know, same with Toulon. So it's a different world we live in terms of rugby.
It's amazing how much the game has changed in those
that
Toulon as well.
Yeah, that Toulon side is the most expensively assembled side in the history of the game. Is it beatable? Yes.
Of course it is.
Because every side is beatable.
Well, we'll come to them in a few minutes. Like there was, you know, as I said, like our experience was I think the deciding factor within that game. But once again, like, and it's happened umpteen times this season. We took a fairly significant lead against Wasps in Coventry. We let that slip. We got back in front against Glasgow the weekend. We let that slip, or say, weekend ago.
Yeah.
And in the Aviva Stadium again, we had a comfortable lead. Like we went in 10 points clear at half time, and we scored 3 points in the second half. Let them completely back in, and by fluke or by luck or by whatever, we didn't give away that penalty in the last minute, and they had a chance to tie it.
I think that we've spoken in the past about the ability of Leinster teams to lose periods of games, just like drift off and then come back. The problem is that those Leinster teams used to do it in the beginning and the middle of the match and then come strong at the end. This Leinster team is doing it the opposite way around. Yeah. We're losing the end of the match.
But going back to those teams, like we seemed to click. Do you know what I mean? There was the bits that we didn't go to sleep. We clicked. Yeah. By God, we were exciting, and we were. You know, we took advantage. Okay, maybe not exciting, but we scored tries.
No, I'm not arguing with that. I'm not saying I agree with you entirely. I'm not sure that Leinster, particularly in the first half, were as bad as people seem to think.
No, that's fair enough. But we didn't really score any try. We didn't score a try, but we didn't really look like scoring a try.
I thought when I watched the finale, I didn't see all of the second half. Just didn't have time. But when I watched it back, the first half looked a lot more impressive on telly than it did in the ground, I felt.
Yeah,
and like I said, I didn't think we were comfortable in the ground. I didn't really think we were so comfortable. In fact, that big hit that McFadden put in, I thought that was, here we go. It's, that the second half will be much better than the first because, we're really finding our mojo now, but in fact it was the opposite.
Yeah, it was the high point of the first half, which was...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you're watching the game in the stadium and watching the game on television, you have very different impressions of the game. I mean, we didn't score any tries, and we only really had one try scoring opportunity ish, which was the first chance ish. But we certainly looked more dangerous, and a lot of the reason why we weren't scoring tries is because they were giving away penalties to stop.
That's true.
I mean, their penalty count was huge.
I mean, one of the positives that was our scrum just dismantled, and essentially that kept us ticking our scoreboard ticking over. And Madigan once again, I think that was the third European Cup match out of 7 this season that he's played. He's scored all of the points.
And even their first scrum where they won a penalty, that I'm certain that was a penalty to us because there was their tried to prop his bind on Keane Healy's arm. I mean, it's blatant in the replay, but anyway, but that was it. I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, what was the final penalty count? 12-4,
something like that. Yeah.
That's a big penalty. That's a big, not necessarily a big penalty count, but a big differentials, between the sides. And it was kind of like you could see that there were occasions when they were killing the ball. But then you've got a guy like Fanny Lowe, who's fantastic in those positions. He really is a superb player. But I mean, we murdered them in the scrums. We absolutely did, and they didn't get any respite when we made changes. You know,
we had a fair go at them in the breakdown as well. I thought we were pretty decent in the breakdown. Both sides looked a bit kind of apprehensive or something in the backs. I know they put together those two beautiful moves for the tries, but.
It was more down to George Ford being so
active in. They're the kind of tries that we used to see in Madigan score a lot of from that. So maybe there's a lesson there for O'Connor. I don't necessarily agree with it, but maybe
George Ford will get found out in another season.
The thing is,
but he's world class. Like,
I think.
But like in fairness to Godford, he did save our bacon. Like he got back to that ball that was blocked down and.
That was a huge moment that we was like on there. Yeah.
The thing about Goppert is Goppert might be good, he might be bad, but he's never lazy.
Yeah.
I mean, he would be alert to that situation. And I mean, that was another situation from a kick.
Yeah.
Where we kicked badly. That was the if you like the one we got away with.
I think that there's two things that really something that Shane Horgan said last week on. Second captains, I think it was, and I've been thinking about this for ages, and I've said it a few times on here about how Like, I remember saying it after the Munster game where they beat us in Lansdowne Road, how we haven't been prepared. It's something wrong with our mental preparation for a game. Like, when you get blown away like we did in that particular game, and the two games where we came back after the layoffs, the one after the Autumn Internationals, the one after the Six Nations, where we got beaten by the Dragons, and I think we drew with Treviso, and we just didn't look like we were mentally at the races. And I was at the time heaping the kind of most of the blame of that on Matt O'Connor, because like that's his job. He's supposed to have the guys at a pitch. And what Shaggy said on Taking Captains was something like he's damaged the culture of Leinster rugby, and not in a like the Shaggy was saying he's a nice guy, he's a good coach, but whatever it is, he doesn't get Leinster. He's not a good fit with Leinster, and that
it can happen sometimes.
He's another symptom of it is the fact that we lost the Six Nations period where we should have, really taken it away, and that is the gap between the first team and the second team.
Yeah, but like that happens. But that happens when you
had
take
everybody, and even check had everybody humming.
No, but like
to come into the
like that was
team.
because there was 30 exceptionally good players in Leinster when Schmidt was there, and up to an extent Cheika.
Of course, that's a fact.
Don't forget, going back to when Cheika was there, and laterally when Smith first started, Leinster weren't contributing so many players to the national squad as they are now. 13 of the 23 players that played in Edinburgh came back into the Leinster team, and if you take those exceptionally good players out, and then you take out, as we've mentioned 100 times, Nasiwa, Sexton, O'Driscoll, Cullen, and probably one or two other fellas, Horgan maybe, who's retired in the last couple of years, that's taken away a huge amount, because like some of those 13 lads were the fellas that were winning the Pro 12 while the O'Driscolls and the Heathlips and so on were away with Ireland back in 09, 10, 11, 12. It was those guys that were like the Geordie Murphys, the McFaddens. I know he wasn't involved in it, but he wasn't, he was injured for a lot of the previous games. So when you take all those fellas out, it's actually going down to the guys that are coming through in the Leinster team, and maybe they're just not as good.
There's been enough quality though in a lot of the games. Even during the Six Nations, there's been enough quality,
I think that for us to get the best out of the players that we have to forget how Leinster used to play. Because if you look at our academy,
we have to forget how they're playing now as well.
If you look at this is it going forward. I mean, if people think that a new coach is going to come in, it's going to be returned to singing and dancing Leinster.
That's unfortunately not going to happen.
Never going to happen. You look at the players the really talented young players in our academy. Right. Okay, you've got your Billy Dardises and you've got your Harrison Brewers and you've got your Ringroses. But we've got
Gallagher.
3 times that many back rows. We've got twice that many front rows. I mean, we're still light at lock for whatever reason, but Leinster are going to be a forward-dominated team. I can see it. If all these players come through and live up to their potential, Leinster will be a forward-dominated team. It's the way the cycle goes. I mean, we had a cycle where we had all these brilliant backs came through. I'm not sure if that's the way it's going. I think the brilliant players in Leinster, we can already see it. What are our 3 world-class players? Healy, O'Brien, Heaslip.
Well, I think you kind of put your finger on it there, is how this is going to resolve itself, or it's not by just changing the coach, and that's kind of the other side of the coin that pisses me off when people think that, just move him out, move some other lad in, everything will be brilliant, as if it's all down to this guy. The players are brilliant, everybody's brilliant, our coach is rubbish, which is just not the case. I mean, there is obviously a bit of a mismatch between the two, whether they don't get each other or whatever, but no matter, you could replace him with, you can put Joe Schmidt back in there and take him out, and it's not going to be the same as it was. It's just not.
But when you
it might not even be any better.
But when you consider that so many have been involved with the national squad, and the national squad, okay, I don't particularly like the style of rugby that is in vogue at the moment. I just don't think it's attractive rugby, but it's there and it's being implemented, and it's for Ireland, it's winning. But if you see how everything is done with such precision, there's nothing done in Leinster with precision. If you look at, we'll talk about it in a minute, Clermont did everything at pace, at power, and they hardly dropped one ball in the whole game. And it was like when, I know I'm going back to the whole thing, but when it was like when Smith was in charge of Leinster, there were some dour matches, but my God, they made sure that they did everything correctly. We just aren't doing so many things poorly.
I think the other side of that is, I mean, I agree, right? Leinster are inaccurate and imprecise, particularly in the kicking from scrum half, we'd say, kicking from half back. But the difference is that who have Ireland got as their halfbacks? They've got the two best halfbacks, certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, possibly in the world.
Yeah. And we've struggled to have a 10, 12, 13 combination that's been fixed all year. And
the other side of that is that doesn't excuse professional rugby players not being able to put a ball in a 10 metre zone, which we can't do at the moment. I mean, we saw it from the kicking at the weekend. That doesn't excuse that. But, you know, it's yes, you're right, but it's also harsh to criticise, or not to criticise, but to compare, you know, good players with the two best players in their positions, probably in the world.
I take that on board, Dave.
Yeah.
But like you're talking about the coach, it is the coach's job to drill. Like, you know, you go back 20, 30 years ago when Northern Ireland were very average. Individually, they were all average players. But the coach got them together. They made sure that they played as a team, and he drove them on as being motivated to play a very dull, boring type of football, but it was successful. You don't get that impression from.
We're not better than the sum of our parts.
I agree.
No, we haven't been
and
all season.
A good example of actually a good kind of, if you like, analogy to take on your analogy. At the time, the Republic of Ireland were far better players. Okay, they had some good players like the Northern Ireland had the likes of Martin O'Neill, and they had good centre halves. But we had world class players like Liam Brady, and you know.
But they played us from Division 2 and Division 3.
We had far better players than they did, but we didn't have, like you say, we didn't have the sum of our parts. And I think there's a similar situation today where we still have really good players. I mean, we talk about, you know, the various rumours about signings and stuff. The reality is, who are we actually going to get that's better than what we have in terms of? I mean, we have world class Irish players.
Yeah, in a lot of positions.
In a lot of the time, and this is the thing that people don't seem to understand. Leinster aren't looking for this. Munster and Ulster kind of need superstars. We need backfill.
Well,
that's the kind of the way it's been. We'll get to that later.
The other, like you've mentioned the two halfbacks, you know, I would mention the 10, 12, 13 channel. There isn't. Like, two halfbacks that we have, our two primary halfbacks, they're knocking on. Both very good players, but they're not what they were 3 years ago. And, you know, 3 years ago we were kicking ass up and down the country, and then Europe. But the real thing is there isn't a combination that jumps out. Like, if you ask 10 obsessive rugby nerd Leicester fans what their 10, 12, 13 combo would be, I guarantee you'll get at least 5 or 6 different combinations. You know, somebody will want Madigan, Darcy, Fitzgerald. Somebody will want Goppert, Madigan, Theo. Well, no, O'Connor will. Somebody will want, you know, any combination of those guys. There isn't one that's jumping up going, pick me, pick me, pick me. And, you know, it's not just because he hasn't had the guys. It's while the guys have been away, there hasn't been anybody else in there jumping up and down either. And you know, that's part of the problem. If Johnny Sexton comes back next year, it'll be pretty obvious who's going to be our number 10. There won't be any kind of, I wonder what it, no wondering, you know. Whereas at all those 3 positions now, we've got wondering. You know, there's nobody's just got the nail in that position.
The question you see is, I mean, we're going into the game against Dragons, we're going into the game against, obviously Dragons is next up, but it's really, it's to a certain extent, it's preparation as well.
Dress rehearsal.
It's a game we have to win, but it's still the game before Toulon, and you know, we still don't know what team we should be picking against Toulon. We still don't know what team we should be picking against Dragons. No. I mean, I've seen suggestions today, and if it were at the beginning of the season, I'd agree with them that maybe Ben Teo should be moved into 12, right? But it's too late now. It can't be done.
But like, I don't know, for the last 15 years, we could pretty much sit here and say if everyone is full,
Yeah.
if it's going back to Checkett era or to the Matt
Yeah.
Williams or Declan Kidney, you could pretty much say this is our starting 15, or certainly this is our 15 to 9. And there might be a little bit of debate of maybe one of the wingers, and I was going back to, say, the final in Cardiff, where will it be McFadden or will it be Fitzgerald? But pretty much everyone else picked themselves. This year,
they don't.
but maybe that's the players' fault as well as the coaches.
Well, in some
none of the players are saying,
some guys
say, pick me.
So Luke Fitzgerald has put his hand up and said,
Yeah,
I'm
he's
on that
gotta be in
part.
this.
Right? You have to build
He's
it. I'm on that pitch. Fred McFadden has done the same, in fairness to him. Madigan's goal kicking makes him indispensable. He is this era's Michael Kiernan to a certain extent. His goal kicking, he's better than Michael Kiernan. Michael Kiernan at the time was regarded as he was a world class goal kicker because he scored 2/3 kind of thing. Whereas now Madigan's scoring 90%, 95%. But it's the same kind of thing, because the thing is, there's questions over his contribution
in
his everyday play, if you like.
In some positions, it's because, like the ones we've just discussed, it's because nobody has jumped up and been clear. In others, because we've just so much bloody quality.
Is Rob Kearney playing all that well?
Mm-hmm.
And he's
Playing better than Kirshner.
He's playing better than Kirshner, but I mean that's the kind of the thing. I mean, nobody, he's not jumping up and I mean, I'm always hesitant to criticise Rob because he's a real leader and stuff like that. But he's not exactly setting the world alight at the moment. But the thing is, the guys who are behind him have kind of dampened down fires themselves. I mean, the only place where guys are really pushing the guy in front of them is actually in the front row. That's the only place where there's real competition in that team, and that's a problem. There's no real competition in the second row. I mean, Steven Toner and Mike McCarthy. I mean, that's it. Kane Douglas is injured, so that's so long and all.
Even if he was fit, okay, we might be paying reasonably big bucks for him, but that's the only reason they're probably going to pick him, because they have to justify the expense that the club is paying.
There's nobody's as close to Sean O'Brien. Nobody is within cooey of Jamie Heasley, who was brilliant again on Saturday. So you've got one position there, and it's between a couple of converted 8s, converted 7s, Maria, nothing.
Although Murphy has done great. He's really come into good form.
He's done well-ish. I mean, you would you even think twice
if Ruddock
was fit?
Probably not.
No, and that's.
But also that's because Murphy is a great man to have on the bench, because he fits into all three positions.
But it does go back to the fact that back when Leinster were good under Schmidt, when Leinster were good under Czech, when Leinster were good under under coaches, guys were really either fighting for the position or were in the position and proving week in, week out why they had those jerseys. That's not happening in a lot of.
Sometimes though, in those days, it was because there wasn't competition. Like Darcy and O'Driscoll were playing in the centres. There was nobody anywhere close to them, really.
No.
But there was fellas there that could have got their game if O'Driscoll didn't exist. Like like say Lewis went down to Munster and was playing.
I think he actually went a year too late. I think he should have gone a year earlier, because I have a feeling he thought O'Driscoll was going to head off to Biarritz that time.
Yeah.
But I mean, we saw that we lost the game to Bath in 2005 in the 2005-2006 season. But what we saw was that there were players there who could slip in. We had Felipe and Christian Warner, if you remember, playing 10 and 12 in a first, second, 5-8 kind of situation to cover the absence of O'Driscoll, who was out with a shoulder injury post Leinster. And it showed that there were guys there who were stepping up. Those guys, or their equivalents today, aren't stepping up.
Yeah, but also, if the minute that guy's fit, he's walked back into anything in the world.
But what I'm saying is,
but then they're
still doing their best when the big star is there. That's not happening at the moment.
Gibson was out with a broken leg, and when we played Bath years ago, whatever it was, in 05, Gibson had a broken leg, and Jennings came in, and he was only a young guy at the time, and then he played so well that when Jennings did come back, he got dropped. And I think that was sort of, he said, well, I'm not really wanted in Leinster, and offered some contract over in Leicester.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're through into the semi-final, and we're going to play Toulon.
It should be remembered that we did actually win the game.
Yeah,
exactly. Like we should sort of make sure that we realise that, because we have got a huge task against Toulon when we play them in a couple of weeks' time. But I think they're far from invincible. I mean, Wasps showed. Now I think they showed them a little bit too much respect initially. But when they did decide to open up on them and run at them, Toulon are vulnerable.
Yeah, you just can't get dragged into an arm wrestle with them. No. You're going to lose. You got to move them around. You got to.
But you wonder, okay, Dave, you mentioned that they've said that they will rest some players against Grenoble at the weekend, but still going to take an effect after having that match against Wasps in that heat, I guess, playing against the likes of Ali Williams and Backy's both to say, who are lads in their mid-30s who have a huge number of miles on their
They're the guys that they're resting. They're resting,
exactly.
They're resting the older guys.
No, I know
that.
I know that. That's what I mean. But they are resting those guys, but still, no, it's still going to take its toll.
No, yeah.
For having that intensity of match, and 2 weeks later having a similar kind of intensive match, especially with the amount of games that those guys have played at such high intensity over the last 10 or 15 years.
I wonder as well, I mean, we could probably take a bit of a flyer with this if we go out and play conservative.
I think we have to go all balls out.
Well, a bit like Bath were able to take a bit of a flyer at us because it was kind of a free throw. They lost the first 2 games, they lost the first 2 pool games, so they did well to come back, to get into it. They did an away quarter final, they were missing 3 props. They weren't expected, they're probably they were probably more expected to beat us than we are going to be expected to beat Toulon, but even so, it was kind of a free hit out for them. They could afford to throw the ball around a bit. They could, then they did knock it on and do all that, as we said. But we can probably afford to do that against Toulon, because if we go over there and leave nothing, leave it all on the pitch, leave nothing in the dressing room.
But weren't we only?
We are going to get respect.
We were only a point down at half time against them. Last year.
I think the injury to Johnny Wilkinson really scuppered us, because Toulon with Wilkinson at out half were a very conservative team. They went set piece, and that was the way they played. They played the way that Johnny Wilkinson's teams normally do play, because that's how he can guide the team around the pitch.
Unfortunately, Gitto is back though, isn't he?
Yeah, Gitto came in, and Gitto is just a magician. It's sleight of hand here, trick of the light there. You never know what he's going to do next, and that's the problem. The thing is, for us, do we have that kind of player? Yeah, we do. I mean, we have a lot of them. The question is, how do we get them all onto the pitch in the right order to cause the problems?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, do you sacrifice, say, bulk at line-out time to sacrifice that for athleticism and for pace around the pitch? Maybe you want a younger guy, maybe a Ben Marshall kind of character in the second row. Not going to happen, but I'm just kind of spitballing things that you might want to do, because you want to move those big old second rows around the place. You want to move their props around the place. You start with Marty Moore, for example.
What's around the ball from their own line? You do that, and okay, you could see the cynicism of Ali Williams pulling the guy back as he was making his break, but a better team than Wasps would have been able to capitalise on that break, and you would like to think that Leinster are a little bit better than Wasps.
Are we a better team than Wasps?
Oh, you got to think so.
Yeah. I mean, even playing. I mean, people have said that.
We are.
Okay, well, I suppose they have a bit of similarities. I suppose with us currently, they're 6th in the Premiership, so that's a similar position that we are. We think we're 5th, and they've only won 50% of their games in the league. We drew with them and beat them, so you got to think we're a better team.
And we're playing by popular acclamation. We're playing the Drains.
Yeah. So you compare.
We have
and contrast the two team sheets.
Oh yeah, of course. On paper.
I know it's on paper, but you look at the two team sheets, and there's a reason why there's so many Lions in our team, and
James Haskell in theirs.
Yeah.
But we've got to have a good game as well, because
speech at the weekend. So we did James Haskell. He was brilliant on the telly. Shit in the pitch. Brilliant on the telly.
We've got to. We had Northampton and we had the Pro 12 final last year. 2 great games where we blew away 2 good teams. We haven't had one of them this year, so we're due one. Also, we're going to have our internationals a little bit better integrated by the time we get. Not that much more, but a little bit more integrated by the time we take the guys out. So we will.
The key to the game for us and for how we're going to play is 10 and 12.
Yeah.
And that's. I mean, if you want to play a loose, fast game. Well, not necessarily loose, but pretty loose, fast game. Obviously, you pick Madigan at 10, but who do you pick at 12? Darcy going to play that game anymore? in the south of France.
He doesn't have the poke anymore. He doesn't have the match fitness.
People have suggesting Bentio at moving him in one. I don't think that's... It's not possible now, it's just too late. And also, you want him able to use his feet to get around Bastro, and the outside Bastro, he's got the pace and he's got the power to do that. So do you want to move him in and negate him there?
It's something that's changed in the game. I mean, the Basher at 12.
Yeah, the power man is now at 13.
A few years ago. Now they want the power man a little bit further out where he's not getting caught up in, he has that little half a second extra to think about it, and he doesn't have a back rower straight in front of him every time he gets, so he get ahead of steam up to use his Bosch. So that's it. And then you've got, like, in Toulon last year you had Wilkinson and Gitto. You've got a lot of these combinations where you've got two out halves, if you like. Hopefully, with ours it's Goppert and Madigan.
It doesn't work.
But
it hasn't worked.
It hasn't worked for us.
In theory it's great, I think. In theory it's great, but it hasn't worked. And the question is to pick one of them and fuck the one out the door.
Yeah. Well, one's going anyway.
But I mean, in terms of for this game, but the problem is, it doesn't matter whether you pick Goppert or it doesn't matter if you pick Goppert and Madigan. Who you pick at 12?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that Gordon Darcy is able, for the combination of the power that's against him, although he's a very powerful guy, and the conditions he'll be playing in. I hope he is, because otherwise I'd like to see him there, but I'm not sure.
I'd be interested to see at some stage if he could come in with Redden at scrum half. If you changed let's say you started Boston, you changed Redden and Darcy in at a certain point during the game, brought Madigan into out half.
He was reluctant to bring him onto the pitch.
Yeah,
on Saturday.
I think he was very worried about Easton's very quick feet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's
I think they wanted bulk in the centres when when Burgess was on.
Yeah. Georgie Burgess.
Well,
at least we won the Battle of the Bunnies as well.
Well, we did. Well, I suppose Sarri saved the Aviva Premiership's blushes by a last minute kick. But I can't believe that Racing let it get to that stage. By far the better team, I thought, on the day. And squandered it, and I just knew as I was watching that game that they're going to blow it there.
There's something about that in the Racing kind of. You look at them sometimes and look great, and then they kind of fall off things. I've seen them do it before.
But they took off all of their leaders. They took off Sexton, they took off Jamie Roberts, and they took off the hooker.
Swarzewski. Yeah. That's. French armies always march well under a good general. You take the generals off and they're rabble.
But you could see there was no leaders on the pitch, and when you continually do that tactic, you just it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work anymore.
I would rather see Northampton in the next round than Saracens. I suppose most people would rather.
Look, Saracens spent a fortune buying the competition. They have to be in the semi-final.
Well, it's three of the four semi-finalists from last year.
Yeah. And we're Munster.
For the
second time tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's true actually, yeah.
So that leaves us with the other semi-final of Clermont against ours. Clermont were just brilliant, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
But now, in fairness, they were playing the form team in England, the team that won the Premiership last season. They weren't playing some rabble of an outfit.
No.
They were playing.
Apart from missing George North, it was probably a big miss for them. That Northampton team. But look, we did it to them last year. We kind of.
There's a weakness.
There's something in there, like in a big game. We did them in the final in Cardiff. We shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have been able to do it.
There is something in that. I mean, Munster did that.
Multiple times, actually, didn't it?
So there's something in that. It's a bit like you said about Ulster a few times.
Yeah.
They've kind of. There's something in there that's not as it should be. There's some weakness there that is can be exposed by the right team at the right time.
And ironically, I think Clermont have that as well. They just hide it a lot better.
And they've got the people that did it to them last year going to try and do it to them again.
Yeah.
They're at home and try.
This game, I think that this is going to be amazing. I think Saracens. Yeah. Which means it's definitely going to be a 3-6 snooze fest, right? because I think this is going to be an amazing battle. There's going to be a war to end all wars. I think it's going to be a great game. I really, really do, because that was the greatest humiliation. I mean, Clermont are a team that's used to being humiliated. You know, they have had huge humiliations, be it their record in the Bouclier finals, be it their ability to throw away winning positions. But that was their greatest humiliation, I think. I just talking to Clermont fans, I don't think they've ever had anything like that happen to them before. An absolute man-shaming, to use the vernacular. So they're going to want revenge. They're going to want revenge. And
sure.
Saracens haven't spent all that money. I said it before. They haven't spent all that money on buying the competition to lose to a bunch of frogs.
Apparently, they're 40 million.
41 million in debt.
Have you heard that?
No.
Yeah.
Saracens are 41 million in debt after their last X amount of seasons. Nigel Ray is just going to continue.
And the loan.
And there's something else.
The loan from the company, the holding company that owns Saracens, is structured in such a way. Now, you might understand this because you're a numbers man, as it were. The holding company is under no obligation to service any of Saracens' debts.
It means that they can walk away and leave the team just to collapse. Now, I'm not saying they're going to. Nigel Ray's been there 20 years. You know.
Nigel Ray mightn't, but the others might. The South Africans might.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, it's just scary that a team can kind of drive, and Bath as well. Those are the two teams driving the salary cap in England upwards and trying to get rid of the salary cap, basically. And that's the greatest fear, that somebody come in and inflate a team artificially, and thereby inflate the whole market artificially, and then just walk away. And
if you think it was bad this year, went to Pau get promoted next year.
yeah,
They have more money than Toulon.
More money than
They're
sense.
backed by Total, the French petrol company, and they've got the wealth of nations basically to spend on that team.
It's got to be All Blacks falling into black holes.
The thing about Saracens and the thing about Toulon and the thing about a lot of these clubs is cast exclamation mark. That's, you know, when a team is a rich man's plaything, what happens to the team when a rich man dies?
That's
Exactly, yeah.
So we're getting at with the Surrey thing.
Yeah.
Well, a club that doesn't have oodles of cash is Dragons, and we play them at the weekend in Pro 12.
They've plenty of mental though.
They've got heart.
They've got
mental
heart and they've got
vans.
mental. And I know people get very upset and they go, the bad language and the mean things they say and the boo and the woo, oh, they're horrible. I've always found them to be hilarious.
They're the most. If you see any of the players interviewed, it's the most intimidating ground in the Pro 12. And
Like it's full.
well, all Welsh grounds are a bit more.
They always fill that one side, the side that's on the camera side anyway. So,
But like, fair play to them. They don't have a lot to cheer about.
Well, actually, they beat.
Except when they play us.
Well, they beat Cardiff at the
Yeah,
weekend, and they're in the
yeah,
semi-final.
they got a 382-mile round trip as a reward on a Friday night. They're not best pleased with that.
They're not.
Um,
Not best pleased with playing Sunday games the whole time either.
no,
They've had a huge amount of them.
they're not best pleased with that, and to a certain extent, I don't blame them. I mean, if you're going to go up to that match, you're going to have to take Friday off. Problem is that the TV company it's a game in Edinburgh, right? It's already going to look empty. They couldn't give a fuck if the away fans are there or not because it's not going to fill the place.
Yeah, also, the spots are decided well in advance. And one of the Challenge Cup matches is going to have to get a Friday night because.
Well, it was lucky it wasn't a Thursday, because sometimes they do play Challenge
That's
Cup
it.
games on
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. It has a bit of an impact on the league as well because Edinburgh Dragons are in the best position because they don't really give a shit about the league now because they can't really improve. All they can do is stay ahead of Cardiff. They can't get qualified for anything or do anything other than not look shit. Whereas if they win the Challenge Cup, they're going to take the Pro 12 spot in the playoffs. So that's a bit of a carrot. Okay, they've got to go away to Murrayfield, but like
Well, they're probably
Murrayfield is not a very intimidating.
No, but they're
place.
playing a team that's probably in the best form at the moment. Like
Edinburgh
Edinburgh have to play Munster at the weekend, but Edinburgh beat London Irish to get into the other side of the semi-final.
They've found a bit of form.
They have, and the previous week they beat Saracens,
Yeah.
and they are, if they win and Connacht lose, they actually leapfrog Connacht as sixth place.
Yeah.
So it's a big opportunity for Connacht. Connacht have 3 really hard games, but they have all of them at home.
Yeah, but I can't remember the last time that Connacht won a really big game. when they had to, when their balls were against the wall, and they were like, you know,
there's so many chances though.
Okay, but they're playing Ulster. When was the last time they beat Ulster? When did the last time they?
But the thing is,
1973.
Yeah, no, they had, and the thing is, they've never done a home sweep of the in the Interpros, but they're going for it this time. They beat Munster there. They beat Leinster. That's motivation.
It is.
Yeah.
You know,
but you wonder why they
won the Aki back.
and they've won the Aki back.
But you wonder
They've
why.
won the Aina back.
But you wonder whether what way Mulliagina, that incident will affect the team. You know, it could unite them together, or it could divide them apart.
A clever motivator will use it to his advantage.
Hopefully, Pat
win for the Gipper, as it were.
Clever motivator. It's also.
But they have won the Aki back. They have Robbie Henshaw back. Automatically, that gives them pretty much the best centre combination in the league.
Yeah.
You know, I watched them against Gloucester, and they were kind of bad and good at the same time in various different parts of the match.
Well enough to hold them, really.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be an absolute wipeout in the first half, but kind of put up a fight. Ulster are no great shakes. Ulster kind of. There's an air of.
Ulster didn't have a game last week, though.
There's an air of neither fish nor good red meat about Ulster at the moment. I'm not sure that they're trotting along there, and they have their new stadium, and everything's nice and swell and everything.
And they've sold out all their games.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that they know exactly where they're going for the remainder of the season.
And that signing with the All Black Charles Patau was confirmed.
Yeah. I still want to see.
Told you.
No, but I still want to see the money confirmed, because I mean that's just the IRFU. Just if that the money that's reported has been accurate, they've just made a massive ride for their own backs. So they have, because when Jamie Heasley's contract is up, or Sean O'Brien's contract is up, Cian Healy's contract, Conor Murray's
is a long time away.
But they're all going to be wanting to know, why aren't you paying us that? You're paying some foreigner that, you know, this kind of way. So
we shall see how that turns out.
I think it's a great signing for Ulster. Just as what's his name, Salai is a great sign for Munster. And as soon as he comes back from the injury he's about to get, because that's what happens when Munster sign centre, they get injured almost immediately. He'll be a good sign for them, but they missed out on Augustine Creevy, which you know I thought was a done deal, and turns out wasn't.
Well, look, he's the RG captain, and if you're going to play for Argentina, you have to.
And you want to play in your home country's first Super 15 or whatever it's going to be, Super 16, Super 17.
I have no doubt if this were 5 years ago and they were in the same position, I don't doubt we wouldn't see Felipe for a slowly dissipating Felipe.
But you remember, I remember going to see him in the Guinness Storehouse, did a Q&A with some Leinster players, and they said to him, they might let Argentina in. Would you like to see him play in Barcelona or maybe in the Seven Nations? He said, no, we want to play in the Southern Hemisphere. That's where we're from, and have our matches in Buenos Aires, not in Barcelona.
He had no time for the Barcelona or the Brussels. If you remember, that was really floated as well. They were a Southern Hemisphere team. They wanted to play Southern Hemisphere rugby. And obviously, Argentinians tend to be very proud of they tend to be very patriotic people. So there's no surprise there that once the opportunity came in, I'm sure Munster are disappointed, but they'll find somebody.
The other thing we've got is the way the three remaining teams in Europe from the Pro 12, the way it affects their games. We've all had a game at the weekend. Edinburgh now have a 5.
We've all had a laugh.
Edinburgh have now got a 5-day turnaround until they play Munster. Admittedly, it's in Murrayfield. They've then got a game against the Dragons the following week. Well, we have the Dragons on Sunday, so the Dragons will then have a 5-day turnaround to the next game, whereas we get the full 7 days. But then we have a 5-day turnaround. So each team has a 5-day turnaround.
But don't you want you want your biggest rest period before the semi-final of the European Cup, and really a Pro 12 matchup on Ravenhill, and you've only got 5 days. Hey, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to be in a position to shine that game off.
Yeah. I'd rather have a bus trip only up the road, 100 miles up the road, than having to get on a plane and fly somewhere.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's the best way around, but ideally we wouldn't, ideally we'd have the Ulster match on Sunday as well.
It's a straight run up the M1 now to Ulster. I mean, you can commute to Belfast nowadays.
It's an hour and 40
minutes. Yeah, it really is. It's funny when you think about it.
But when you drive it about an hour and a half.
Yeah. But when you think about it, the big rivalry between Leinster and Munster, I mean, Leinster and Ulster are literally local rivals now because of that bloody motorway. When you think about it,
yeah, there's not much in it.
So I suppose the other, just to round it off, is the other big news is Nasiwa is definitely coming back.
Well,
No, he's not.
hasn't been definitely announced yet, but he's the most likely.
He is probably, but it
Mick Kearney and Issa seem to be the two things that will be announced in the next week, or maybe not. I mean, it's the usual story. I'd say
if this table is the level of Well Nation, I'm under the table.
Okay.
But then, like, the other argument is, I mean, I'd love to see a huge signing as well. But the other argument is that Sexton is coming back. We did sign.
Who's going to throw that ball to him?
We did sign Sean O'Brien. We did,
yeah.
we did re-sign Jamie.
The thing is,
like, we have kept all of our star named players, even though we're not going out and signing World Cup winners or.
Kloss is going to need his buzz pass to get the ball out to him.
Has any team in the Pro 12 signed a world class out half like we have? So it's the way to look at it.
Yeah.
The way that but I mean, it creates a buzz. I mean, Issa coming back, it's lovely, but it's not a buzz.
No.
Mick Kearney coming back, it's nice, but it's not a buzz. I mean,
Johnny Sexton
coming back creates a buzz, but
that's a buzz.
It'd be nice to see us. But then you see, the thing is, we've said it before. I mean, Leinster aren't looking to sign.
Eton Bread is kind of soon forgotten.
Yeah,
when Sexton was announced, whenever it was pretty much last summer, it was like, oh, brilliant, that's deadly, and then it's like, oh, well, it's a year away.
that's how just like Piatow.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. You see, the other side of it is that Leinster as a team, because of, like you said, that we had the 13 internationals, the 13 Irish squad players, we don't have a lot of room for foreign players as first choice players, as guys who are going to play in the Heineken Cup match.
Yep.
You know, a lot of those guys are going to be Irish guys. There's only very few slots for NIQs, A, in the first place, and B, that are required.
So who do we rest for our Dragons game?
I play them off.
Do we play them all? Do we rest guys like Toner and Kearney who are high in the minutes? Do we... Probably Heaslip is up there as well.
You might need to rest Kearney because he's got a bit of an ankle. He was. I mean, his withdrawal was necessary.
What's the story with his bro? I mean, if his bro was fit, would you have put Kirshner on the bench ahead of him? I know I wouldn't. On the form that they were both in, so that says to me that is there a problem with Dave Kearney? And has he got a knock or something? Hopefully not. We've also got Kevin McLaughlin coming back. I think he might be able to play this weekend. I could be wrong there. Might be the far side.
By O'Connor.
I don't think O'Connor's had a chance to see him.
Maybe not.
He's been injured so often. That's the problem.
He's been injured a lot this season. But
you see it in every sport. You see it a lot in team sports. Guys who are really good players just never get a chance to show the coach what they can do because they're always injured.
You're obviously not going to throw him into Toulon, but you might throw him in to rest, say, Murphy. All of the back row last week played 80 minutes. Dominic Ryan didn't get it. He was the only sub that wasn't used. So, well, whatever. He could end up in at 6 to give Murphy a rest. Murphy could have ended up at 7. You could even have, if Kevin McLaughlin was fit enough to play 60 minutes, you could even have him.
I mean, I know.
You have Jennings and Dominic Ryan on the flanks to rest the two.
You leave yourself a hostage to fortune doing this, but I pick as close to the team that's going to start against Toulon.
Yeah.
That team needs to play together. It just needs to play together.
In previous seasons, we've come out of the Six Nations. We've maybe had one Pro 12 game that we've rested guys,
and then a big intro,
and then a big intro, be it a Leinster or an Ulster game, where they've integrated back the entire, or more or less the entire starting 15.
Yeah.
And then they get their poor dress rehearsal out of the way, and then they step up and play in a quarter-final.
If memory serves, we used to have it organised in Ireland, or certainly Leinster had it organised such a way. We played an inter-pro before the quarter-final and another one before the semi-final.
Yeah.
That used to work very nicely.
So, I suppose you could say the Bath game was our warm-up for the semi-final. Lucky we got through it.
Well, that's what we have. I mean, as I said at the start of the programme, it is our 6th semi-final victory. Sixth semi-final appearance in the last 10 years. That's an exceptional record. We can't expect to win it every season, especially as you're talking about the Poes coming in and the guy Nigel Crane and Bruce with billions of quid.
You see, when you mentioned, I'll be Bruce Wayne. I mean, some of these guys are richer than a lot less honest. But the thing is,
Yeah,
I mean, no, I mean,
it's good in
I
the
mean,
other though.
the reality is that the days of the Leinster and the Munster, and maybe the Ulster, who can compete at the upper echelons of Europe, unless things change, are fast coming to an end.
Like, you know, rugby was traditionally about the rep team.
Yeah.
You were representing your club, then you were representing your province or your state
Or your county.
Your county. It was all about being a representative team. And like you go back, say, into the European Cup back 40, 50 years ago when Glasgow Celtic won it, all of their, or majority of the players were born within, was it 10 or 15 miles.
Parkhead, yeah.
Now, like, you know, that's just not going to happen in football. In any division now, really. And rugby's going a bit like that, and it's kind of going away from its roots. It's going away from, I play for my local club, I play for the team with my mates. It's just...
France has gone away from completely. There's still a few guys, like, you still get your Rougeries and whatever, but France is the English Premier League. I've said it before, and I say, yeah, that's what it is.
We spoke about Sexton. You know, one of the big things that he loves about coming back to Leinster is
playing
with his friends.
Yeah.
And he's playing for a province that means something to the fellas that he hangs out with.
And that might be something we have in our favour against Toulon.
We said that last year.
Yeah.
It didn't work out for us, but you know, it's still there. I mean, and if it's close with a minute to go, and you've got all our guys and all their guys, some of their guys are a bit old, and you know they've got their pay packs and they don't get paid for another fortnight or whatever, you know. Sometimes these things make a difference. Sometimes they don't. But, and in fairness to the Toulon players, they're such good players.
But it worked out for us in Bordeaux in 2012 that day when we were camped on our line, and Gordon Darcy made the tackle on Fofana, and it was only the size of his bicep.
The punishment that Cullen took in those final rucks, there's no money can pay you to take that. There's not. The only reason you do that is because you have to do it.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only reason you do it. And that's one thing we have in our favour, and that's one thing that, you know, will keep us competitive for a while. The question is how long will we be able to remain competitive? How long will we be able to remain competitive if, say, for example, certain government ministers are interfering with the payment structure of, you know, how the IRFU earns its money? But I'm just saying,
it's a debate we have
to have. But you know, all these things feed in. The IRFU is, you know, has to maximise every cent that comes in the door to keep the international team competitive against far bigger countries like France and England, or countries with a far bigger obsession with rugby like New Zealand, or far more money like Australia. It has to do that to keep clubs or provinces competitive in Europe against your Toulons, your Poes, your Saracens. I mean, there's no way a team in Ireland, even like we make a joke about Munster's capital programme in Thomond Park, they're not 41 million quid in debt over it.
Nope.
There's no way the IRFU could afford that. It can't carry that. And at the same time, it also has to run, you know, getting the new kids getting minis in the public park, getting them into the game. How long that is sustainable as a model, when the French are doing what they're doing, the English are doing what they're doing, is questionable.
We shall see.
And it's certainly not going to be possible. And I believe that, and I mean, if one of their hands is tied behind their backs commercially.
But that's a debate that I think we should have.
Oh yeah, I think we should. That should be almost an episode on its own.
Exactly.
But that would be my belief on the situation.
So will you give me a toner and a carney?
You can have a toner and a carney,
Thanks.
Well, thanks a million, boys. Thanks very much.
I thought you were looking for something for a photocopier.